Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we could be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So, like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. Welcome to another edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I am your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zhu and P-Bush. How you fellas doing?
It's just been an absolutely beautiful last couple days for the Chicago Bears, man. I mean, people been joking. They're like, man, we've won 3 offseason banners in a row.
Yep.
But I think this time around, man, they're focusing on the right aspects of free agency. They're focusing on the dudes that they're not going to be flashy, but they're going to get the job done. That's how you build a football team right there, man. So now they got to execute. But Ryan Poles, you can't hate on the aggression, man. He's an aggressive GM. I like that.
100%. He pulled off one of the biggest steals trades in the history of, I would say, professional football. And now you got to back it up. Now that deal, you got that deal, but now you got to back it up and build around that rookie stud quarterback. So I like what they're doing. Some interesting players, especially in the trenches, because clearly lacking last year in the trenches. Got some cute skill position players that had a little flash, but you need guys in the trenches to protect your quarterback. And get to the other side of the ball. So for me, it's been really, really interesting. Like the NFL free agency that first day, man, Twitter went crazy. Twitter went absolutely
rivaling
crazy
NBA.
That one day. Yeah, it really reminded me about. I was like, what's today? I was like, oh yeah, it's NFL free agency. I'm like, all these names and deals and contracts getting done. Seeing these $100 million of contracts, big names, Myles Garrett getting deals done. So a lot of deals got done in that first day. So I'm like, yeah, NFL definitely. They came back with a flash, some big deals and big player movement with some big names.
It's the NBA. They're pulling punches at each other, man. I swear, trying to get media coverage.
Even with Twitter being down earlier that morning, didn't stop the momentum of the NFL at all, which is a testament to how strong the NFL is, man. They were. I will say, if you was probably on Instagram or if you were using Facebook as your way to consume content, the Instagram comments on a lot of the Bleacher Reports and all of those news outlets, sports news outlets, saw an uptick in comments in terms of fans showing their either praise or displeasure. So once Twitter got back on its feet and was able to maneuver and work, yeah, man, the NFL made a statement. Like I said, the free agency has always been a big part of the NFL offseason, but this year just felt like it was a lot more bigger names. And I don't know, man, it's just they're doing a little bit better of a job capturing the moment of free agency and making it important, just like they do with like the draft coming up. So people just wanted to let you start with, just obviously you're probably going to start with your Bears or talk about other teams, but what are your analysis on maybe some surprises or some, I don't really understand that moves that happened this free agency offseason?
Well, I'll get to the Bears shortly. I got to make one comment on a team that I know you guys are both pretty high on this guy going into this past year. Very interested to see how he progressed in his second year. And they just gave this man the worst competition you could ask for and say, if you can't beat this man, then you don't belong in the league. And that's the Indianapolis Colts signing Daniel Jones as the competitor to Anthony Richardson, pretty much saying they're not going to draft a quarterback this year. That I doubt they would get any of them. And let's be honest, outside of the top 2, and then you're starting to see the Jackson Dart name get thrown around, and he might have some value. Maybe they do take a flyer, but they pretty much just said, Anthony Richardson, if you can't beat out Daniel Jones, then you don't belong on our team. And then you're probably saying, look, let's be honest. If they bench Anthony Richardson and he doesn't beat him out, they're going to be a bottom 5 team in the league, even with some of the other additions on defense that they made. And that primes them for a potential Archie Manning, right? Something like that. You get the Manning back in Indianapolis. You're talking little NFL. We love a good script here on Pick and Dimes, man. And if it's pointing that way, I know it's not his son, but you're talking about a nephew and one of the biggest names in NFL history for longevity purposes, from grandfather to, all the way down to grandson. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what they do. I hope Anthony Richardson can beat him out, but that was a shock. And I thought maybe they would be the team to maybe sign Jameis as just kind of like we'll still try and be relevant in a division that is still kind of open. I mean, the Texans have made some interesting moves this free agency, but we'll see what the Colts do. So I had to make that comment real quick. I'll let you guys touch on that if you want to. But with the Bears, man, I mean, we were just talking about it pre-production. I think Zoo made a good point, man. They just had to focus on the trenches. They got 2 guards, both via trade. Jonah Jackson on the younger side. Joe Thuney is a solid veteran, a veteran presence on an O-line that is in desperate need of having a veteran presence. They haven't really had a solid 28-plus-year-old guy that has been a solid player on, but the interior, center, tackles, doesn't matter, since really like Olin Cruz. And for any Bears fans out there, that was a long-ass time ago, and pretty much the last time we were relevant. So I think this was a big focus of polls and Ben Johnson saying, hey, you got to protect my guy. I also want to have a good running game, which was non-existent last year with DeAndre Swift. Maybe this points towards an Ashton Genty pick. That might or might not be the right call. Well, maybe they go the second round with a running back like a Caleb Johnson from Iowa or something like that. I wouldn't be mad, but I do think they'll take a running back at some point in one of their first 3 picks, 2 of those being in the second round. And then on the other side of the ball, we all know Montez Sweat. He couldn't be the threat that he had been when they first traded for him 2 years ago, mid-season, because no one else was able to get pressure. So you're just talking about an offensive line that could double team him pretty much every single game. Well, now you bring in Grady Jarrett, another guy who you're bringing in a solid veteran dude who has proved it in the league for close to a decade, to just kind of shore up the veteran presence, be a true leader on the defensive side of the ball on a very young defense, outside of the linebacking position. And then I like the edge that they signed, man. I mean, I'm gonna absolutely butcher his name, but Dio Odeyingbo, I think is his name. Younger. He's a good motor guy from what I've been reading on, and I watched some of his highlights. The dude does not stop. So if they can get maybe they go pass rusher with that 10th overall pick, then you're talking about having an unbelievable, valuable rotational guy to give some rest for both Sweat and a potential draft pick. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of go like the Rams route, Sean, doing a Jared Verse type pick, maybe not to the same level. There are some solid rushers in this draft, but to your point, I think this is putting them in a position to draft the best overall player. And Zoo, I know you love that in any draft where you can just draft the best player available and not have to worry too much about have a gaping hole in this area on either side of the field. So, yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm curious to see how they handle the draft because I do think that'll tell really where this team is going to go. I want to say Genty, but at the same time, that's probably not the best long-term decision. Sean brought up the point of holding off till the second or third round to get a value running back. We've seen plenty of those guys come through. Matt Forte himself was a second rounder. So, you got to remember, you can find value at the RB position later in the draft. So I'm happy with the Bears free agency so far. It's far from over, but the right moves are being made by finally a right GM, in my opinion.
The right GM.
I think
and
so.
The right coach, because I feel like the coach got a lot of year in their GM right now because I think they got a relationship, and looking at the way they're building the team right now is very – I think they're just trying to copy the Lions, to be fair. That's all I'm looking at. They're just trying to copy the Lions' offense.
With a better quarterback.
That offense is awesome. Their offense is awesome, and they have a quarterback with a way higher ceiling than Jared Goff. So if they're doing that and they can somehow be Lions light, I ain't mad at that at all. I ain't mad at that.
Exactly.
Over. So for sure, the Bears making some interesting moves right now. For me personally, I like looking at contenders. Like, which are the teams that are let's go all in on this year. Immediate impact, maybe the future, it don't matter. The one that caught my eye is Davante Adams because this to me, like the LA Rams, I think this is one of those few organizations. I think from top to bottom, from GM to the head coach, they really know what they're doing on the football side of things because pretty much when they won that Super Bowl and pretty much had to go through a pretty much full rebuild. They rebuilt pretty damn quick. Like, they rebuilt pretty damn quick and pretty much revitalized this franchise. And last year with Matthew Stafford, took the eventual champions to one possession game and one touchdown away from beating the eventual champs. Exactly. Yeah. They were this close to getting that win. And right now they're like, okay, Cooper Kupp, this is a very big indictment on Cooper Kupp. It's pretty much just saying, this guy's washed. We're going to give this big money to Davante Adams. I know it looks sexy, too, for $46 million, but pretty much it's just a one-year guaranteed money type of deal, 20 plus million. So pretty much you're just guaranteeing Davante Adams getting 20 plus $1 million and see what happens next year. If they don't have high expectations that they can cut him. So pretty much we're going all in right now with Davante Adams because right now, like Puka, Sean, you're right, man. Puka Chew, man. That dude put up some ridiculous numbers, even coming back from injury.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, just imagine if he stayed healthy all year.
You would have never traded him.
Similar to Jamar Chase. Oh, I know. Don't remind me. Like what Puka did last year, coming off injury and being that productive as an alpha number one receiver, just taking Cooper Kupp's job as the wide receiver when they let him go. Like the Cooper Kupp, they're trying to trade him. They're probably going to let him go. They're probably going to go to another team in free agency. Like who knows what's going to happen with Cooper Kupp? But if you get a guy in Davante Adams who is not washed, because when he had a competent quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, he took the receiver one job away from Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Yeah, he took it from a young receiver. Obviously, he had the connection with Aaron Rodgers, but his volume and efficiency and touchdown, pretty similar to prime Davante Adams numbers. And he might just be one of those rare wide receivers that age very gracefully. And you're telling this guy to be the number 2 receiver for Matthew Stafford on a 1-year contract deal, pretty much.
Yeah, man.
Let's win a Super Bowl right now. I love this pick because pretty much they just noticed we're this close to winning it. Let's add a Davante Adams to see what we can do with Matthew Stafford because I heard there's a lot of rumors about maybe they're going to move on from Matthew Stafford, maybe trading for picks and go full.
I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand that because I think Stafford ain't that old. I know he is.
He's not. He don't show like he's old either.
Exactly, and the way he plays, I think he's aged gracefully because he's not a mobile quarterback. He's one of the few quarterbacks in the league that can't move, but he has a special arm and can get away with special arm in the modern NFL right now. So for me, you got the coach, you got the quarterback, surround your players, and obviously they made that trade with the Bears, so we'll see what they can do in the offensive line. They got that stud rookie, the defensive stud guy who might be the second coming.
Verse.
The second coming. So they got some pieces there. And for me, this 1-year move. I like when they go for the high talent, just a 1-year move. Let's go for the championship right now.
Yeah.
And let's not waste no time with some rookies and young players that need development. Nah. You get a vet that you can plug him in as wide receiver 2 in this offense, and let's see it go. So
and let's be honest. Rams. Stafford and Prime and Rodgers are very similar type quarterbacks. Rodgers was always a bit more mobile, but you got to remember, Stafford used to move until he started getting his shoulder injuries from diving too much.
Yeah.
I think Davante saw it. He's probably like, that might be the only other quarterback that I truly trust to like get me the ball on a consistent basis and be at the same like maturity level. I think that's a big thing for them too.
And it's
not Rodgers is the most mature guy in the world. All right, I'm not saying that, but Matthew Stafford for sure.
It's LA. I think once he got out of Green Bay, think about the choices where he went. Now, I know he followed Aaron Rodgers to New York, but Vegas, New York, and now you're in LA. Like, it just happened to be that, honestly, the only thing that gives me a little bit of trepidation is receiver is the one position. Maybe you could argue running back that it could just leave you at any moment. But because he performed so well last year, I'll just bank that with him being the number 2 option, he'll be fine. But I don't know this has nothing to do with real life football, but fantasy wise, I don't know if I would touch him. I don't know if I would touch him because it kind of gives me like, it's weird, but it's not Cooper Kupp because nobody saw Cooper Kupp coming this year in terms of like him just falling off, but like maybe it's a little bit like that, but not as bad. Because Puka to me is the number 1 guy in that offense when he's healthy. So like I think it's still he's going to be the target whore, but we can talk about fantasy in another lifetime. Yeah. But yeah, I do like that the Rams are going for it because not only with Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, they had some undrafted 4th, 5th round corners that were pretty good. So it obviously shows you that in the draft they're probably going to go more defensive and just make that defense even better than what it is right now. So yeah, I think the Rams are prime. They're in prime real estate to be one of the top 2 teams in the NFC next year. So, like I said, whenever you got a coach and a quarterback, you're in good company. So, I like that move for sure. I don't know. It's been divisive since it's been online and when it was announced, but I absolutely love Justin Fields going to the Jets. Absolutely love it. And it's more so because of Breece. I think because Breece is a elite back who everybody wants in their backfield. You want a guy who can catch out of the backfield. You want a guy who can do, sweet plays to where it's like quick action throws or runs. Guys he's a really good cutback guy, and he's a guy who can take it to the house when he's in the open field. And I've always been a proponent of parts of the reason why I think the Jets offense didn't work last year is because even though Rodgers is great, prime Rodgers in terms of him being a threat running the ball is way past him. Like it's over for that. And in the new age offenses, I think offenses are more explosive when you have just the threat of the quarterback running. I think that's going to open up more stuff for guys like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Now, of course, as a quarterback, you're going to want a guy who can throw. But seeing that, just doing a little bit of research of the guy who's coming in off as a coordinator, one's going to say, oh, he came from Detroit and he was, helping Jared Goff, which, of course, Jared Goff is not the athlete, right? But I do think with Aaron Glenn being the head coach, just because he comes from a defensive background, I do think it's going to be more of a run. And this is assuming he could be coming out getting Justin Fields to throw 40 times a game, which I hope he does it. But I do think it's going to be more of a game manager, big play offense where, okay, let's throw some slants, some go balls to Garrett Wilson. Let's run the rock with Breece Hall. Got to remember, we also got Braylon Allen, so that's a two-headed monster. You could have your team centered around a quarterback who has the ability to run. And while he has that, maybe develop him more as a passer with maybe quick throws and things like that is not as difficult. Like the offense may change. So I do like that aspect of, hey, they're giving this guy a chance. And I think I'm starting to just maybe show more of a soft spot for quarterbacks who have been who are staying in the NFL and getting more and more opportunities, because it kind of feels like now more than ever, and Sam Darnold's a prime example of this, of like, if you just happen to stay in the NFL and you keep working, maybe your time comes. Like Geno Smith's another example. Like 4 or 5 years ago, people were like, Geno Smith, he's a backup, career backup. He had a chance with New York, didn't work out, getting into fights, locker room fights with guys. He's a backup, career backup. But I do think with how offenses are evolving, which this has always been the point that I love to preach, is I think sometimes the offensive coordinator and the head coach need to maybe coach and figure out how to use these guys besides trying to fit them in the pro style offense. Like the game is being modernized. It's becoming a game where if you watch a game on Saturday and you watch a game on Sunday, obviously they're better athletes and they're pros, so it's going to look better. But some of the concepts that they're doing are kind of similar. So to me, what you see in the college game is a lot of guys who are super athletic, who are, I wouldn't say they're limited throwing, but they're okay throwing it. But I think in today's game, what we're seeing is more quarterbacks who, and I love Jalen Hurts, but like nobody's going to confuse Jalen Hurts as like this 45 drop back. He's dropping dimes. It's just pinpoint accuracy like Tom Brady. Like that's Peyton Manning. That's not his game.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be, like, you've seen it over and over. Like, you don't have to be that way to win Super Bowls. You got to be an elite quarterback, and quarterbacking is still important. But I think offenses that are built around the quarterback's strengths, and with Justin right now, it is his athleticism. Mm-hmm. But like I said, with athleticism, man, maybe that buys him time to maybe become a better thrower. Like I said, sometimes you're just in bad situations and it doesn't work out. Like I said with Sam Darnold. Now, if I'm going to go on that point, I don't want to pay him $100 million. I'm going to be honest. This is a little controversial, but I don't think I would have rather just figured it out with Sam Howell and then maybe draft a guy. I'm not paying Sam three for $100. People saying, oh, is the cap's going up as cheap? I don't care. I don't want to pay Sam that because I'm not paying a guy for one good year. Not doing it. Geno at least had a couple of good years in Seattle. That's why I get why Vegas did it. But Sam got one good year. And again, Sam Howell with Washington that year, he was a gunslinger, and and obviously Jaden Daniels is way better than him. But like Sam Howell put up some crazy stats.
Yeah.
So like if you're just gonna say, hey, let's just ride with Sam for a year, him and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and we'll draft a guy to maybe be his heir apparent, and they battle it out. I'd rather do that, but I don't want to give Sam 3 for $100. Like, okay, people are like, oh, he got the Baker deal. Okay, but that don't mean I want to pay that.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have Justin Jefferson. He doesn't have Jordan Addison. And newsflash, their third receiver was really effing good too. Like, good luck, Seattle.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You talk about he got Hawkinson back. He missed Hawkinson and Addison missed like a decent amount of time last year, right? But
Jay Jetters is a Hall of Famer, so Seattle don't have that.
Desperate. I think they're desperate. Like Seattle. All right, they were. I think this is their organization. They were a run, not a throw away from having a dynasty. if they run that ball with Marshawn Lynch. And they've never let go of almost to their fan base that like we're not going to be a bad team. We're always going to try and at least be 8-9, 9-8 and up if possible. And they panicked. They said, okay, well, we can't work with Geno. I guess we'll trade him, see whatever we want. They'll probably take Jackson Dart. I bet they take Jackson Dart.
No, I'm not mad if they do that.
I'm not mad because you
but
got
better take a quarterback. Yeah,
maybe you can trade him for a 5th rounder or something like that. Whatever. Sam Darnold, I don't know the structure of his contract. I don't know if it's. I know it's not like a Davante where it's like it's all front loaded, right, on the guaranteed side. I don't know what the breakout is, but you aren't asking Sam Darnold to bring you to a Super Bowl. Right, like they got rid of DK Metcalf. They are starting the rebuild, and they don't. They
That's why I don't understand it. Yeah,
they don't have to, but they don't have to pay anybody else. So it's like, all right, we're at least going to try and be relevant in a division that the Rams are the top team. The Cardinals are still iffy. The Niners are just cleaning house right now.
They're about to pay
CMC.
Brock Purdy, 40 plus.
Yeah, right. And Michael Parsons said,
"Hey, 49ers, have fun."
Welcome to not having a QB on a rookie deal, right? Michael Parsons tweeted that, and it's so true. So I think, but maybe that's what they're doing. They're saying, all right, look, Sam Darnold, honestly, he's probably a pretty damn good mentor because of what he went through and what he overcame. I wouldn't actually mind him for that.
Just thought of this. Would you have rather let Brock Purdy walk, pay him, or then pay Sam Darnold that 3-year, $100 million deal? What would you rather do?
Wait.
If you're the 49ers. Yeah. Would you rather pay what you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy, or would you rather let Brock Purdy walk and then pay Sam 3 years, $100 million? Because remember, he had that tutelage under, and he had some decent games with the 49ers when, that's the reason why he got the
Brock got him there. Brock, I know he had a great team. I'm not saying he was the only reason, but he did get him to a Super Bowl. And so,
Zhu, what would you do?
I just don't think. I think
these are two bad options, man. These are both quarterbacks, and I don't truly believe in any of them. But man, this Sam Darnold contract, man, I'm quite shocked he still got this contract.
Me too. 3 is for a $100.
In my mind, while watching the regular season, this was the type of deal I saw that he could have gotten if he played that well.
He won,
maintained it. And then the 2 biggest games of his career, he went the bed not once, but then he shit the bed in the biggest games. So not only in the 2 biggest games of his life that he knew everything was on the line, he played 2 of his worst games of the entire season.
Apparently, it wasn't
on the line, average.
And like it wasn't like the other team like I don't know. He sucked ass, and he got rewarded for sucking. And this Seattle franchise, I don't know what they're doing. I know they're trying to rebuild Sam Darnold. Man, Sam Darnold. Like I think the only reason they got Sam Darnold is because their OC Kubiak has a relationship with this guy, and pretty much they're going to run
who you know and not what you do. I guess
that's what I'm saying. They're going to run a similar system to what they did with the Vikings, so he's not going to have to adjust as much. But I don't give a damn about your system. You don't got Justin Jefferson to throw it to.
All right, let's not put it lightly. JSN is going to be a monster.
Okay, Jason's a nice player, but Justin Jefferson.
I know, yeah.
And then you hit on top of that Jordan Addison as your 2, who's a
and whoever the third guy was good too. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But the third receiver was good.
Yeah, who was it? It wasn't KJ Osborne who was their third.
No, it wasn't him. But it was another guy who was like he was making when he had his opportunities.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Number 83. I forget his name. Yeah.
He made plays.
So that Vikings team was absolutely loaded for, and like an Aaron Jones and a TJ
Naylor
got paid.
Yes, shout out to Aaron Jones for getting a nice little deal for a running back. But you're going from that situation to a team where they traded their best receiver away because they just didn't want DK demanded a trade, so they got some value for him. I don't hate on that. JSN, he's a nice player, but it's a major downgrade from Justin Jefferson. Who's the receiver too? Like, is there Tyler Lockett? I don't believe
they draft somebody, but
you know what? They're gonna sign Cooper Kupp.
Oh god!
Oh Jesus!
Pack it up.
Honestly, I'm telling you, this
Cooper Kupp in his prime and JSN at young age would have been nasty. Very similar players underneath.
But all I see,
Cooper Kupp,
Seattle is gonna be a bad season. It's gonna be an absolutely god awful season.
And what do you think about the Niners?
The Niners, it's kind of over for them too. They were in the Super Bowl window
closed.
They made it back again, which is extremely tough. And then everyone eventually your body, like withstanding all that force of going to multiple Super Bowls, like your body's not going to last that long.
Yeah.
CMC's body is done for running back. Like shout out to CMC, one of the greats, but his days of being an elite RB1 is over. And I'm like, and you got to pay people. Debo's gone. Ayuk after last year's injury looked Ayak. Like, nah, he doesn't deserve that name, Ayak anymore. He was just whack last year.
You know who's going to be good? I think Ricky Pearsall is actually going to take a nice step next year.
Yeah, they need some young blood infusion because all the old veteran guys they're falling apart right now. They're absolutely falling apart. So
knowing him though, George Kittle's still going to probably have a great year.
Yeah, George Kittle is just
like he might be the sneaky value play out of the 49ers. I know he's not.
I think his targets will be there.
He's always productive when he stays healthy, which is the key thing because he is prone to getting knocked out based on his play style. But yeah, I don't know. This Sam Darnold signing baffles me. It absolutely baffles me because I think he's a downgrade from Geno Smith. And you know me, I'm not a big Geno guy, but
I'd say they're on the same tier.
Like, yeah,
like based on
I think
small sample size.
I don't know if he's ever had the peak of Sam Darnold year, but I don't know. Maybe he has. I don't know.
He was in the MVP conversation.
Geno's just shown it.
2021.
He might have been. Geno has just, like I said, he's at least shown, okay, I could be a consistent quarterback. And that's all, like you said, with Sam, it's not about that. I don't think he's a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback last year. It's just, I just need more years. It's just hard for me to want to give. And again, this is not my money. And people keep talking about the cap going up 3 years, $100 million for just a decent quarterback is good enough. But Sam Howell to me, and maybe I just like Sam Howell a little bit more. He wasn't god awful in Washington. So it's like, if I know where, like I said, the direction you were showing me is that you're tanking as a franchise. So just put Sam in there. And like you said, you never know, man. You could, if they say they didn't sign Sam Darnold and they went with Sam Howell and then draft a quarterback, maybe that lights a fire under Sam and whatever. And then he comes out balling, and now you got a first round pick that's really same thing happened with Minnesota. Like JJ got hurt, obviously, but like, I don't know. Maybe they just think JJ McCarthy's gonna be really good in Minnesota, so they just got rid of Sam. But I'm just not a big proponent of that. Obviously, we all saw Washington; they were really good. I love what they got for Larry Tunsil. I think that's a steal. Once I saw they got a fourth rounder too, I was like, that's a freaking steal. Tunsil's like 30 years old, and I think he was number 2 in the league in, like, I guess, win rate against him. He was behind some, I don't know who the tackle was, but yeah, dude, 30 years old. You get a fourth rounder. You're giving up, I think, what is it, like a second and a third?
Mm-hmm.
Or what is it? No, you're giving up a third and a seventh this year, and then a second and a fourth next year.
It's a lot.
Have it. You can have it. To me, for left tackles, that means if you tell me you give that up for 5 years of elite left tackle, I'm taking that. Because then by then you're going to have to pay Jaden, and you're going to have to, it's whatever then. And hopefully in their draft, whatever picks they have left, it's like maybe they find some extra linemen. But I absolutely love what they did with their offseason, because it's like you got Debo, who's going to be a complimentary piece, versatile piece. They get someone. They got, now people were mad about the Kinlaw guy. But like Kinlaw's was injured a couple of years ago. It's just and it's the same thing with like just how rare is someone. Like he's 6'6", 325, and he's a little twitchy. Like you just
They had to fill in for Jonathan Allen.
Those type of guys, man, just take a chance. And obviously he had a relationship, because I think the guy he was working with 49ers is now on that staff. So it was like he saw him in practice every day. Just take a chance on those guys, because if they hit, then you got a stud, and you got him for 3 years for 40-something million. So, and I do think in the draft they'll probably focus on the defensive line. They'll probably do that in the draft.
I think the two teams that impressed me the most quietly were the Patriots. They went all in. They went all in on defense. They went with what? They got like Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, and Robert Spillane. I mean, they're pretty much saying we're going to focus all offense in the draft. We're going to just sign every defensive player, because let's be honest. What's the young corner they have? What's his name? I'm blanking on it. The beat. Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez, opposite of Carlton Davis, that could be one of the best cornerback duos in the league next year. And then you're shoring up your D-line and getting a solid veteran linebacker. They just need some veteran presence for and Vrabel, obviously, he was talking about coaches in the ears of the GM. That's huge. And then on the opposite side, same side of the ball, but just kind of a different head coaching situation. The Broncos went after two big 49ers.
Big time. Yeah.
With Hufanga on the back end. They really needed safety help last year, and then they got Dre Greenlaw, which I think was a nasty pickup at the linebacking position, and pretty much showing that they're going to go running back in the draft. They let Javonte Williams go. Smart. I did actually like that signing for the Cowboys. That's a good compliment to Rico Dowdle if he can stay healthy under potentially a better O-line. But I'm the Broncos are pretty much saying we believe in like our Devon Vele, right, second wide receiver, Bo Nix, obviously. Their O-line is pretty solid. They just need they need the running back and probably depth O-line, depth D-line. And I think this team could be very interesting and potentially surpass like a Chargers team this year. Would not be surprised if they maintain that again year over year.
I didn't understand Josh Palmer to the Bills at all.
That made no sense.
Pretty good money.
He got like 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
It's like, are we just gonna just are we just gonna do the? All right, now I just won't say that. But I'm just saying, why are we doing bargain basement type of things with the receiver? I don't like how we devalue receivers, man. Like, I understand in the grand scheme of things that like they're probably the least important because you can just find a million of them. But I think what we confuse sometimes is elite quarterback play with average receivers, and people think that's the norm. No, like there's a handful of elite quarterbacks who can make average receivers look really good. But the majority of quarterbacks in the league are average, so are a little bit above average. Like they're in that tier. So to me, you should get them as much as receiver help as you can get them. Like, I know Josh Allen is a super talent. I know Lamar's a super talent. I know Joe Burrow is super talent. I know Jalen. All these guys are super talent. They have elite weapons. But, like, to me, I think receiver is a little bit important. And if you have the chance to maybe get, like, and now people would say, okay, who's out on the market? I don't know.
No, not this.
Again, if I can get T. Higgins for a second-round pick, I'm giving that up. I'm not paying Josh Palmer. I'm getting off that second-round pick, and I'm getting T. Higgins. If that's what it takes. Now, if you tell me I got to give up a first, then okay, I'll go get Josh Palmer. But if you're telling me a second, which DK went for what, a second? Like DKT?
Yeah.
I think they're in the same range. So,
yeah.
I mean, if that's what the asking price is, I'm getting up off that if I'm any one of these. Like DeAndre Hopkins, I love DeAndre Hopkins. He's a South Carolina native who put Clemson into a realm where they became a national power. But I'm not, like, that's not moving me if I'm Lamar. What is DeAndre Hopkins doing for me? What is Josh Palmer doing for me?
Nothing.
They're just names.
Yep.
I don't understand it. Like, get off.
They're doing the Chiefs of last year, man. They're just maybe there's
something about T. Higgins I'm just missing in terms of like it's like as a player to where, and he's probably going to eventually get signed by someone. But I'm just saying for the contenders, like Zhu talking about, what are contenders doing? Like, I don't know. I may want to get up off a second rounder for him. But maybe that's why I'm not a GM and they are.
It's also possible. I mean, the Bengals seem like an organization. I know they've kind of like screwed over players in the past, but they have never, other than T franchise tagging in back-to-back years, they've usually treated their wide receivers pretty well. I mean, like, you know, Hushmanzada. I mean, Ocho Cinco had but he was such a character that, like, you know, there could have been. But
he's a different situation.
They wrote AJ Green for years
until
he went to Arizona, and at that point he was already he was at his Amari Cooper level, where Amari Cooper's at right now. That's kind of where
Why are they waiting so long to pay Jamar when he's the guy they got to pay?
Yeah, they have to pay him, but at the same time, T might not want to go to Buffalo. I know Josh Allen's great and all that. Yeah, but I mean, Josh Allen's had some.
I don't want to live in Buffalo, but yeah. I mean, if you're talking about the location or just the team. Well, yeah, I don't want to live in Buffalo. No,
exactly. So maybe they're giving him.
I don't care how close it is to Toronto.
We're not gonna trade you unless you agree to where we're gonna trade you. I don't know.
Where do you think he would want to go though? He is a Southern kid. He's from Tennessee, so I don't know where
he just wants to go where he gets paid, man. I feel like that's it. Yeah, you don't want to
probably a lot of it too. Like, what is the extension and payment going to be? Like, who is the team that's going to be what? That might be more than. That might be the deciding factor of like, okay, not only do we got to get up the pick, we got to pay you. Who's willing to do that? Dallas should do that. They ain't made any moves. Screw it. I mean, I know. Are they going to pay Micah? That's the thing with some of these guys. Like, somebody brought up a graphic with, and it's not necessarily about the Cowboys, but it was with the Bengals. To your point, like, yes, they're taking care of their receivers, but like they could have been getting these contracts done earlier and pay guys earlier and just had this already like done.
Yep.
But the Bengals, like, to me, every passing day, Jamar's price keeps going up.
Higher.
I do not understand. Like, after Myles Garrett just signed and you see all these guys signing these record deals, why are you allowing this to just keep going? I know that their management is like, oh, it's just a football team, and they're like one of the, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to call anybody broke when you're a billionaire, but I'm just saying they're one of the franchises who, let's just say, they're not the Cronkies in LA, right? But I don't understand why they keep allowing this to go further to where it's like, okay, you got to put all this money in Jamar because they just let Hendrickson go, which I guess everybody saw. And then Higgins just got franchised, which he's going to get franchised and probably traded. And it may happen on draft night, whatever. But their mode of how they do their stuff, like they just wait to the last minute. And to me, I don't know what other moves they made in free agency. I didn't really check for the Bengals because I just don't think they're relevant. But I don't know. If I'm Joe Burrow, I know I love Jamar Chase, and I know he's going to get signed. But let's just say he's a good soldier because I would have been asked for a trade again out of Cincinnati. They're not serious about winning. Like, they were going to the Super Bowl that year was such an anomaly, and it's because of his talent. But like, if I'm him, I don't care that I'm from Ohio. Get me out of here, man. Put me somewhere where they're going to spend. Like, look at Matt Stafford. He put the Rams over a barrel. Got his money, and guess what the Rams then did after that? They paid him and then got him Davante Adams. They put him over a barrel and said, you're going to pay me and you're going to get me a receiver.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why I said Ryan Poles is a good GM because at least he's trying. He's making moves, and he's not just sitting stagnant and waiting for the draft. Like, you have to take steps for whatever your team needs. And I just think that maybe there's some owners that have too much say against the GM, and they just don't have as much leeway to make decisions. I think that's finally the only good thing about Bears ownership is they finally accepted that this guy knows football better than I do. And I think there are a lot of owners. We talked about the Brown family, like Paul Brown, his son, Mike Brown. He's a Harvard lawyer. I have a feeling he loves negotiating with these players and just plays a hard at. And maybe he loves the power play. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm speculating.
It might be.
But, it could be just personalities at these respective organizations. We talk about it all the time. Pittsburgh Steelers, very different than the Cincinnati Bengals, and it shows.
Yeah, they're. I mean, everybody in that division is pretty well run. I mean,
Browns
are tough.
Yeah,
I think Browns have still taken. Yeah, the Deshaun, outside of the Deshaun contract, which was just a colossal failure.
Even Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett asked out. Trash the franchise. Like, I want to win. This place ain't it. I said, here's the bag. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Negotiating tactics.
His dreams of winning a championship by just saying, "Here, we'll just pay you off." They Carmelo Anthony'd him, man. That's
man.
Which it's
a big bag.
I'm never mad at anybody who, if you that's what you demand and he ends up getting that, then the whole winning thing just goes out the door because that's just insane money that you're not going to give up.
He's winning in his bank account, man. That's what he's winning.
Yeah.
Gotta have one.
And Najee Harris going to the Chargers, I like a lot.
Love that.
I like that a lot. I think he's a bigger upgrade than all the guys they got there.
Agreed.
Like, I think he kind of got, at least for me in fantasy, I just wasn't a big fan of him. But 4,000 yards in the first 4 or 5 years he's been playing, that you can't sneeze at that.
That's one thing. He's pretty durable.
Yeah.
He's consistent. He's just not the
never
fastest.
missed a game.
Yeah. He's consistent.
It's not flashy.
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy? He's kind of. No, for sure. He's Harbaugh is a running back dude who is wanting to stack guys, and now he's got his array of J.K. Dobbins, with Vidal. I don't know if J.K. may not be there anymore. I don't know, but at least he's got Harrison.
He's a free agent,
Vidal.
So we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at that. And to your point, that you touched on, Peoples. Yeah, this is a make or break season for AR. He has to win out the battle and actually become a quarterback who, one, stays healthy, and two, makes the certain progressions to be a franchise quarterback, because Daniel Jones is not going to go in there and just assume to want to be the backup. He's going to want to win the job.
Yeah.
So, but this is what it just feels like this could happen with AR. Like, it just feels like, okay, what if Daniel Jones does go in and wins and then he gets benched and cut? The next team he goes to, he's going to kill. He's going to go insane.
All right. You better have that same energy with Justin Fields. Same energy with Justin Fields, man. Let's do it.
I don't know, man. I think Justin Fields and Anthony Glenn. The only thing I feel like with them is some of the guys they lost on defense is like, I still like Sauce, but it's like I still hope their defense is as good. But I'm real interested to see what they do in the draft, because I don't think they're going to double down on a receiver or anything, but they might get a tight end or something. But I just like that matchup with him and Breece. Breece is, I think, going to be super underrated next year, because when you got a quarterback that just makes that threat to run, yeah.
Could you imagine they just start running the option? Like
going crazy. Option with Fields and Breece.
Does well, man. I'm gonna root for him.
But you know who doesn't like this? Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
His numbers are not.
Garrett Wilson is, and I think Sam Darnold's maybe a better passer. But like, is Garrett Wilson such a good receiver? Like how Justin, it just doesn't matter who his quarterback is. Because I know last year was skewed because Davante and Aaron were buddies, so it's like I don't really put that on Garrett. Mm-hmm. But like his years before that, it didn't matter who was throwing. Like Zach Wilson was throwing the ball and he was getting yards. So like, I think
Wilson. The problem is Justin's just a limited thrower down the field. Like,
yeah, but they were teammates. I think that's a huge thing we're missing here. They were teammates at all.
Oh yeah, they were. You're right about that.
Remember, like they beasted in the passing game.
They were good. Yeah,
I get it.
Interesting.
But they have a rapport, and that's huge.
Hey,
I'm buying Garrett Wilson stock.
Let's see.
You're buying Garrett Wilson stock after
Listen, I don't know if this is possible. Probably not. But hey, if I'm the Jets, maybe I'm just like, screw it. Let me go get Olave. What does it take to get him? Just get Olave and Garrett Wilson. Jalen Hurts, have Brown and Davante. Hey,
dude, the Saints
it is what it is.
The Saints cap is still, even with the Derek Carr restructuring, they're still over the cap by a certain amount, and they are trash. So they got to move something. I mean, at this point, you're ruining Olave's career. It is what it is, and maybe the Jets.
Hey, at least they got Drew Brees running around as an ambassador. So, and he got your Super Bowl. So
now you won. That's all you need.
He's an ambassador for the city. Listen, hey, he was there when Katrina happened. So guess what? He's like forever stamped. It doesn't matter how much cap hell they're in. They're just always going to be indebted to him. And they're they could say we got a Super Bowl, but yeah, you're right. They're screwed financially. They are. It's a tough situation.
It might not be a bad trade, Sean. That could happen. But he's so young.
What you give for him? You probably would still have to. I mean, I guess the going rate is a second rounder. So is he? I guess a second or third maybe he's worth. I don't know.
I trade him Braylon Allen in a fourth.
And I'm hanging up the phone.
And you know what? They might actually listen because what's his name? Kamara's getting older. Kendra Miller has not worked out there. They need a bruiser, man. They need an actual running back, not a pass catcher.
Yeah,
maybe they'll be stupid enough, man. You could take advantage of them like the Wizards or something.
Yeah, never know. Like I said, building around Fields, and I don't know, man. Like I said, it was when Jalen Hurts first came out. Everybody wasn't fired up about him throwing the ball, but then when you got him elite weapons, guess what happened? He improved. So I don't know. Fields is a
I don't know.
Twice that fleet.
Hurts got that nice deep ball. That's one thing that
he's always had that for sure.
Yeah, that's a nice.
Fields has got to develop that.
I know, but. Watch Fields' deep ball in college, man. It wasn't bad. To Garrett Wilson.
I forgot about him being teammates. Him and Garrett Wilson were electric for sure. They were really good. And Olave as well. And I think Jameson was on the team that first year. But then he went to
Emeka Egbuka might have been there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see. I absolutely love from the contenders for the most part. I won't say all, but most of the contenders, they made really good moves to, especially the Rams, putting themselves in position to be like, look, we are not satisfied with going out in the divisional round. We want to get to the NFC Championship game or possibly the Super Bowl. So we're going to be on the lookout next couple of days. I think most of the big moves have happened. I guess T. Higgins maybe is like the last maybe trade or something that could maybe shift the timeline or whatever. But, NFL dominating per usual. And, with March Madness coming up in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be on Next Pod talking about some possible upsets, some Final Four picks, things like that. So stay tuned for that. NBA playoffs are right around the corner. So also tune into the podcast to make sure that we're talking about all those different types of things. All NBA teams coming up, MVP discussions. Like I said, man, spring. Listen, you won't get Masters talk here, but Masters is coming up in April. I think it's pretty cool. It's a great event to watch. We're just not experts on that. So maybe I'll throw some master moments on the social so you guys can enjoy that. So make sure you're on Tyson Talks _ Instagram, Tyson Talks _ TikTok, Crunchyroll Notes, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Make sure you give us 5-star reviews, thumbs up so we can get algorithms. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.